Hey everybody, this is TJR.
And this is Superfan.
And say hello to our little friend. Hey buddy, how you doing?
He's happy and excited.
He's excited about the news that we're going to share. Of course, we have a vintage vinyl haul for you. Went to Amoeba Records in Los Angeles and picked up some stuff. But there's some more vintage vinyl in the future because we have a trip that is coming up soon that we want to talk about in this video, because we would like to get your recommendations as far as used record stores and also the best coffee.
And places to eat.
Yeah, well, anything else too, of course.
Yeah,
but
things to do.
But mostly your recommendations for music stores. And so, shall we talk about the trip first or do the haul first? What do you want to do, little guy? Huh?
Let's talk about the trip. We're
Okay.
already on that subject.
So, real quick here, we're going to be going to Seattle.
For a week.
Yep. And of course, we're going to be doing a lot out there like we do with any of our trips. And, you know, in our international trips, of course, I've certainly done used record shopping. I've picked up had some really nice finds out there, especially when it comes to UK pressings and international pressings. But whenever we're international, there's only so much I can allow myself to buy because we have to ship it back.
Yeah.
And in the past, we've tried to just simply put it in the suitcase, pack it up and put it in the suitcase and take it home that way. But in this situation, because we're going to be in the United States, shipping records back and CDs too for that matter,
is not hard.
Is not hard. And it's not expensive. We can just send it media mail here in the US. So that's going to change things. And so I'll feel less restrictive about what I can and cannot pick up.
Yeah.
I won't quite have to limit myself so much. So, you know, we're happy for that. And but for those of you watching this channel who either live in Seattle, have lived in Seattle, or visited Seattle, let us know what record stores you might recommend in Seattle. We have, of course, been doing some research, but there's nothing quite like recommendations from people who've actually been there. Also, since I'm such a big coffee fan, let us know about the best coffee shops, coffee houses. There are some, of course, we've already heard about.
Yeah.
But everybody's, of course, recommended Starbucks Reserves as being better than your typical Starbucks. But let us know some of your recommendations for that as well, and anything else. We're going to, of course, we've got other things on the agenda too. We're going to do some Twin Peaks sightseeing, since we're both big Twin Peaks fans.
Yeah.
We're going to go see other things that are, of course, on the list, like seeing the Museum of Pop Culture.
And the Space Needle.
The Space Needle. The Amazon Sphere.
Yeah.
And a couple things like that. But anything you might want to recommend, if it's either in the area or close by, let us know what you might recommend. And with that said, let's take a look at our record haul. Why don't you go have a little seat, buddy? There you go.
And we're going to
Okay.
be going to at least one national park, if not three.
Yeah.
Maybe
two.
three.
Maybe three, okay. So anyhow, let's go ahead. Went to Amoeba Records just very recently. Had a bunch of stuff to take to them to get trade credit. Got a nice little chunk of change for that. And picked up the following here. And first here is vintage US pressing of Elvis Costello, this year's model. And of course, I remember picking this up back in the day. And this, of course, is the original cover that this album had. Nowadays, if you pick up this album, it's going to have this cover. This was the UK, no, I shouldn't say UK, but European pressing that I picked up when we were in Amsterdam. And this is now the de facto cover that you see, no matter where you get it from. This is the cover you see. You no longer see this cover anymore. Track listings were also different between these two as well. That was another interesting thing. But really enjoyed this pressing we got in Amsterdam. Thought it sounded fantastic, and really enjoyed this one too. So I just thought I'd show that here.
Yeah,
next,
the variation on the cover is kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. But so is the fact that the tracks are different. And of course, then there's just the audio quality as well. So next, of course, the Eagles. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. They're not called the Eagles. They're called Eagles, which sounds terribly awkward to me. It's hard for me to call them Eagles. I want to always say the Eagles. But of course, this is On the Border. And this is actually my first time owning this album. It's kind of been interesting how with this band, when I first started getting into vinyl collecting, I happened to find their very first album, which I had never owned. And for a long time, the Eagles were a band that I only had like one album by. It was Hotel California, which everybody has. And but the first when I found their first album at like it was an antique store actually.
Yeah.
Picked it up. Sounded really great. First time I'd ever heard the album. And I've just kind of happened to have run into other albums, by the Eagles, including a copy of Hotel California, which I had on CD. I had the anniversary edition, in fact, but which I found, again, a European pressing, really good condition, sounded great, and an original pressing, European pressing. And also a while back came across the U.S. one too as well.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of become, well, okay, I've been getting them on vinyl so far. I'm just going to keep trying to fill in the rest of the gaps.
You'll get there eventually.
Yeah, just fill in the rest of the gaps with their all the classic albums. I've already had these for a little while. I've had a chance to listen to them and check them out. That's kind of how I want to do these hauls from moving forward. Instead of showing them before I've had a chance to check them out and listen to them, I'm waiting till I've had that time to do that so I can talk about them a little bit better. But there we go. Next, we've got here Cheap Trick, Dream Police. And this, of course, was the follow-up to Heaven Tonight. Heaven Tonight being one of the seminal albums of my teenage youth. And I thought this was a really strong follow-up to that album. Heaven Tonight was the first Cheap Trick album I ever listened to. There is an album that follows this one here, which I didn't pick up back in the day when I was a teenager. I forget why. Maybe the single or whatever singles were aired didn't really appeal to me. Back then, money being as scarce as it was for me, if the single didn't really attract my ear, I didn't have to feel a whole lot of incentive to go listen to the album. Back in the day. And in fact, I should have done this too. I didn't bother to open these up and let you see them. I apologize for that because that's part of what we do here. Here's On the Border, and let's just pull out, we've got a paper sleeve, which I still keep this even though it's like I said, I'm not going to use it in practical purpose. But that's it. I don't know if anything else would have come with this one, but that's how this one was.
I'm a little surprised that it's a plain paper sleeve, and it makes me wonder if...
I wonder if it came with something different when it was, and like I said, I've never seen an original one aside from this one, so I don't have a whole lot to go off of. And in fact, I'll go ahead, and since I didn't show this one here, I'll pull this out here. There we go. Here is the original sleeve that came with it. And I remember this. This is the US sleeve was the same way. Let me try to pull that out here. And then we had this here. And this little TV here, this mini micro TV, you look at it, it is Elvis Costello and the band playing, and I think it's their Saturday Night Live performance from the 70s. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it's the one that actually got him banned from Saturday Night Live because he didn't...
Are you putting it in with the sleeve like that?
Yeah, I'm just putting it outside because that way if I don't have to be handling this if I don't want to, if I just want to look at the inner sleeve, the original inner sleeve.
I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was thinking that you were putting it in with the vinyl on. So
No. But anyways, yeah. And let me also go ahead, and I think that was, yeah. So that takes us to the next record here, after Dream Police here. This one here, the others were sealed up when I bought them, which means they were in really good shape and they don't want you pawing through them, so they seal them up. This one was not sealed up and was priced quite a bit less, but I mean, the record I thought was in great shape. Robert Plant, Now and Zen. This is one of the few albums that I didn't have. There's the back cover. On CD or vinyl. I'm not sure why, because I have pretty much all of his albums. And so I saw this here. It was like $3 or so. Here's the record here. on the Esperanza label. We'll go ahead and put that away here. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Robert Plant's solo output. Someday I should talk about that in a separate video, just his solo output. He's maintained such a consistent quality, in my opinion, with his solo material. There might be those who argue with me, but hey, you know. But if you had asked me back when Led Zeppelin broke up, who would be the one person out of that band that would have the most consistent, most prolific musical output, I would have thought it would be Jimmy Page, because most of the music with Led Zeppelin began with him. It began with him writing riffs for the various different songs, and then Robert Plant, writing lyrics. So I would have thought it would have been Jimmy Page, but it turned out it was Robert Plant, and he's had a remarkable catalog, in my opinion, a remarkable solo career. And it's funny, a while back, yes, what did you want to say?
Well, go ahead and finish your thought.
A while back, a friend of mine who doesn't really keep up with popular music anymore pointed out his second album, with, who's that female artist, the Americana artist? I can't think of her name right now.
Alison Krauss.
Alison Krauss, thank you. His second album with Alison Krauss. And she texted me an image of the cover and said, I didn't know he was even alive or still recording. And I said, oh yeah, he's had a very long solo career. In fact, I said he's put out more albums as a solo artist than he ever did with Led Zeppelin. And
there you have it.
yeah, there's a little fun fact for you. So finally, after that, we have one more here. And I've already done a video talking about this that has already been put on the channel, but this was part of that haul. The Moody Blues, Days of Future Past. And this is an original pressing. And I did talk about this in a separate video because this is an album that I've been saying I want to try to find an original pressing of. And of course, I talk about that in the video too. If you want to check that one out, we'll really quickly show this inner sleeve, because these are always fun to look at. These inner sleeves from back in the day, and advertising, of course, other albums that were for sale. So that's always cool. You wanted to ask me something now?
Well, you said you talked about Dream Police.
Oh,
You
that's right.
didn't.
That's right. There was something I forgot to mention here, because I did get sidetracked by the fact that I forgot to show the albums in more detail. Dream Police, yeah. The album, there's an album by Cheap Trick that came after this. I can't think of the title right off the top of my head, but it was the album that followed this one. And it's the one where they got a new bass player. And I remembered, yeah, like I said a moment ago, I didn't pick it up. I forget the reason. More than likely it was because whatever singles were being played on the radio at the time did not really appeal to me. So money being what it was, not having the internet, I just didn't feel any incentive to go check out the album. But I found out while I was re-listening to this that follow-up album was produced by Giles Martin, engineered by Jeff Emmerich.
Huh.
And I thought, well, maybe the album is good, maybe it's not, I don't know. But that's certainly a reason to go check it out, at the very least to go listen to it on streaming and just hear what that might sound like. I remember a while back, some years ago, I played you a track I was playing America's Greatest Hits album, and I played you a track called Hold Me Tight that sounds nothing like America, nothing like them. But it's a fun, enjoyable track nonetheless. And I mentioned it to you that it was produced by Giles Martin. I didn't even think you thought it was America. I think you even asked me, who is this? And I said, it's America. And I think you even remarked, it doesn't sound like him. I said, no, it really doesn't. But this was produced by Giles Martin. And the moment I said that, you said, oh, I can totally hear that. I can totally hear his production style on it. And I can totally hear, I could have totally heard Paul McCartney singing this song, And anyways, though, so yeah, for that reason alone, I think I'll go at least listen to that album on streaming and check it out.
Yeah.
But that's the vinyl haul from Amoeba Records. I am trying actually not to go looking for used stuff to buy, because I am trying to save money for this trip. I do want to have a little stash set aside for it. And that way...
That being said, I'm
Yeah.
still looking at estate sales
I know.
every week.
Yeah, I know. You look at space sales every week, and but I'm being very discriminatory as to whether I'll even go to them, because I do want to save money for this trip. I do want to have a little stash put aside, because I'm expecting that I'm gonna, find some good stuff, but also, like I said before, I'm not gonna feel like I can only take 2 or 3 items home with me, because that's kind of been it. Each trip I've only bought 1 or 2 items. This last trip to Amsterdam, I think I actually bought like maybe 4 records.
And we had them, and we had no issues getting.
Yeah, they came home safely. They came home safely. There's always a little bit of like tension about that something could happen, because they're going in the suitcases. Granted, we're packaging them in secure packaging. We're putting them in there with clothes and everything, and they've been safe. But there's always that possibility.
But that's true of anything.
I guess it's true of shipping, but I feel a little safer when it's shipping through U.S. mail. My experiences have always been good with that, by and large. Even shipping from other retail locations, not just record store retail locations, but also Amazon. I've had very few bad experiences. I've heard horror stories just like anybody else. But
actually, our postman the other day dropped off a record and made sure to put it in the shade.
Yes, that was, because it's been very hot. It's starting to get really hot here in Southern California. And I had ordered a copy of the Rolling Stones' Blue and Lonesome LP through eBay. And it was being sent U.S. mail. And they delivered it. It took a while to get here. I think the seller took a while in shipping it. And when our postal person brought it over, rather than put it against the front door side, where the sun would have beat down on it, they put it up against the shady side of where we have like a white fence, surrounding the complex here, and keeps shade on that area, and put it there. I'm guessing they realized this was a record and understood that. And so because I didn't discover it until very late in the day that it had been delivered. I was looking through messages and then saw, oh, this was delivered. Oops, it's been outside, sitting out in the hot sun. And but it wasn't even hot when I pulled it in, because they'd left it in a shady area. So I appreciated that about that. I really appreciated that. And anyways, though, but that's this haul, and that's our announcement about us going to Seattle. Again, we'd like to hear your recommendations.
On anything, Seattle.
There you go. As always, if you like these videos, please hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon so you never miss a video. A big thank you to the patron supporters. Patron supporters do receive exclusive weekly videos not available on this channel. And if you can't be a patron supporter, you can always leave a super thanks for any video that I post here. And if you can't do that, you can just click like. Clicking like is free, and it really helps this channel a lot. Thanks so much. We'll see you all in the next video. Bye.
Bye.